Hush now. Room 105. The good news was that Mom didn't try to keep me on a short leash. She didn't keep herself on a short leash, so maybe she figured she had no business keeping me on one. Anyway, hush. After breakfast, I told her, I'm going out. And she said, okay. Not, where are you going, or when will you be back? Just, okay. I took a bus downtown. We lived in a pretty decent little city. I'm not going to say where exactly. But you can stop at a red light without getting carjacked. Drive-by shootings are rare. No snipers on the roofs. Like that. So I didn't give a second thought to going downtown on a Saturday morning by myself. I knew the building mentioned in the ad. It was the Fairfield. A loser uncle of mine once had an office there. He chose it because it was a good location, but cheap. In other words, crummy. Shh. The lobby brought back memories. It looked just the way it smelled, like wet dogs and cigars. It took me a while to figure out where to go. There was just one bank of offices on the ground floor, and room 105 wasn't in it. I finally found it at the back, by the loading dock, facing the freight elevator. Stella, hush. I said to myself, this can't be right. But there it was, room 105. I said to myself, what am I doing here anyway? This door's not going to be unlocked on a Saturday. But it was. I was into this huge empty room. Then I took in a lungful of air and was almost knocked down. It wasn't wet dogs and cigars this time. It was zoo. I didn't mind that. I liked zoos. But as I said, the place was empty. There was one sagging bookcase over at the left and one overstuffed chair over at the right. They looked like leftovers from a garage sale or something. I said to myself, the guy has moved out. I looked around again, and the high, dirty windows overlooking the alley, and the dusty industrial lights hanging from the ceiling. At the peeling walls, the color pus. Then I said to myself, okay, I'll move in. I think I meant it. Nobody could possibly want this place, could they? So why shouldn't I have it? I mean, it already had a chair, didn't it? I could do without the rest for a while. There was one feature I hadn't figured out. The chair was facing a big sheet.
I forgot my night environment.
It's okay, I don't have any. You haven't been taking them the past couple nights. There was one feature I hadn't figured out. The chair was facing a big sheet of dark glass in the middle of the right-hand wall. It reminded me of the kind of window witnesses look through to identify suspects in a police lineup. Stella, hush.
Why are you telling me?
Because you're making noise and you need to be going to sleep. There had to be a room behind it, because there was a door beside the window. I went over to have a look. I put my nose up against the glass and used my hands to block out the light. And I thought it was a movie. About 10 feet back from the glass, there was sitting this great, huge, fat gorilla, munching on a tree twig. He was staring right back at me, and I suddenly knew it was not a movie. Yow, I said, and jumped back. I was startled, but not exactly scared. It seemed like I should be scared. I mean, I knew I'd be screaming my head off if I was a character in a movie, but the gorilla was just sitting there. I don't know. Maybe I was just too dumb to be scared. All the same, I did look over my shoulder to make sure I had a clear shot at the door. Then I slanted my eyes in to see the gorilla was staying put, He was. He wasn't even quivering, or I would have been out of there. All right. I had to put all this together. The teacher had not moved out. I mean, no one could move out of a place and forget to take his gorilla
Daddy,
along.
is there a monkey in that Krishna?
No, that's just a gorilla. That's not a Krishna story.
But it is actually.
Okay, hush. So the teacher had not moved out. Maybe he had just
What's
stepped
the
out
cover?
for lunch or something.
Oh.
And forgot to lock his door or something. The teacher would soon be back. Probably. Maybe. I looked around again, still trying to figure out what the deal was here.
We finished the Christmas.
No, we did not. I'm just reading this one tonight. Hush, please go to sleep. The room I was in was not a living space. There was no bed, no kitchen facilities, no storage space for clothes or anything. So the teacher didn't live here. But obviously the gorilla lived there, in the room, on the other side of the glass. Why? How come? Well, what the hell? I guess you can keep a gorilla if you want to. But why keep a gorilla this particular way? I looked in again and noticed something I missed the first time. It was a poster on the wall behind the gorilla. It said, "With man gone, will there be hope for gorilla?" Well, I said to myself, that's an interesting question. Didn't seem like a very hard one, though. Even at age 12, I knew what was going on in the world. The way we were going, gorillas were not going to be around for very much longer. So the answer was yes. With man gone, there would be hope for gorilla. The ape in the next room grunted, just as if he didn't think much of my reasoning. I wondered if the poster was part of the course. The ad in the newspaper said, "Must have an earnest desire to save the world." That made sense. Saving the world would certainly mean saving gorillas, but not saving people. That's what popped into my head. You know what it's like to have ideas pop into your head? It's like they come from out of the blue. But this one came from outer space. I mean, I can tell strangers from friends. This was a stranger. I gave the ape a look. The ape gave me a look. And I knew. I vanished from that place. That's how fast I got out of there. 1 second I was eyeing the gorilla, and the next I was standing out on the sidewalk, breathing hard. I wasn't far from the center of town, where a couple of department stores are still hanging on by their fingernails. I headed there, where I'd find some people. I wanted to be around people while I thought about this. The gorilla had talked to me. Talked to me. Inside my own head. That was what I had to think about it. I didn't have to wonder if it happened. It happened. I couldn't make up something like that. And why would I make up something like that? To fool myself? I went over all this while riding the escalators at Pearson's. 6 floors up, 6 floors down. Very soothing. Nobody cares. Nobody bothers you. Nobody notices. At the bottom, you have to switch from down to up. Jewelry and notions, women's clothing, men's clothing, housewares, toys, furniture. At the top, you have to switch from up to down. Furniture, toys, housewares, men's clothing, women's clothing, jewelry, and notions. All coming at you in a restful, slow motion. Teacher seeks pupil. Must have an earnest desire to save the world. I say, you mean save the world as in gorillas? And the gorilla says, but not people? Where was the teacher while all this was going on? And what would have gone on if the teacher had been there? What was the plan? What was the idea? I can see an exotic teacher having an exotic pet. A mind-talking ape? Pretty exotic, yeah. Teacher seeks pupil. Must have an earnest desire to save the world and be able to put up with a telepathic ape. Hey, that was me, down to a T. I stopped for a Coke. It wasn't even noon yet.